What strange thing have you witnessed or experienced that you cannot explain? Have you ever been to a county fair? Have you ever seen the trashy trailer park looking dudes with the bombshell girlfriends? That? I can't explain that. I see at least like 3 every time I go to one. What choice do they have? He's their only brother. I was driving home one night, a little under a year ago, and the sky turned completely white for about 8 seconds. Mind you, it was completely clear, no clouds or any kind of moisture in the atmosphere or anything. And it wasn't just one spot either, it was the same, uniform stark white everywhere from every direction up to the horizon. But besides the sky, nothing else had changed. Everything else on the ground was the same exact shade, coloring and shadowing as it had before. It was as if someone had inverted the colors of the sky and only the sky. Then it just changed back, it didn't dim or fade, it just switched to black. Still fucks me up and actually made me go see a neurologist. He said everything was fine, no signs of a stroke or aneurysm or anything. Edit. U00 Dawn explained it perfectly. It was like looking at a night painting that hadn't had the sky painted in yet. EDIT2. The high-altitude meteor hypothesis is sounding more and more believable. Sounds like a meteor burning up happened around my place a few months ago, and it looks exactly like a lightning strike, but longer duration. I once went to Panera with some friends. We got our food and sat down at the table. About halfway through the meal, my friend says, "Did any of you guys notice that pole before?" I look next to the table, and there is a huge floor-to-ceiling black pole literally almost touching me. I swear it was not there when we sat down, and at this point I'm freaking out and saying we're in an alternate universe. I get the attention of a woman who works at the Panera and ask her if she's noticed a pole before, and she looks at it genuinely baffled and says she hasn't. Went back a few weeks later and I swear to God it wasn't there. Still one of the most bizarre things that's ever happened to me. This is the weirdest one in here, lol. Ghosts and stuff are scary, but things like this that really challenge the accuracy of your perception really freak me out. I panicked once because I thought my ex-boyfriend had come into my store. The person turned around and was not my ex. 10 minutes later I look up and make direct eye contact with my ex walking past my store. When I worked in retail, we used to have a semi-regular customer who looked a bit like Hugh Jackman. Then one day, Hugh Jackman himself came in. It was a busy touristy spot, and it wasn't unusual to have celebrities come in once in a while, except I didn't realize it was Hugh Jackman because I was so used to seeing his doppelganger. I even chatted with him briefly and commented that it had been a while since he last came in, which earned me a confused look. When he left, my coworkers told me who I had really been talking to. I should have known, since he had an Australian accent and was taller than his lookalike. Ghost Legos. I was a kid playing with Legos and noticed a few were in the bucket that didn't look like mine. The plastic was faded, older, definitely of a different generation. I would build spaceships all day, then when I went to bed and woke up there'd be holes in the spaceships where the old bricks would be. Being a 7-year-old, my biggest concern was all the air getting out and my crew suffocating before they went to battle, so I'd quickly pull them apart and put new bricks in where the old ones were. But now that I think about it, that always stuck with me as odd. Okay, I've got to hand it to you, that is truly freaking weird. Me and my dad both witnessed a white figure fly across our backyard in 1999. It didn't have arms or legs or a face, it was basically like a sheet, and it flew across the yard at superhuman speed. When we saw it, we both looked at each other and tried to make sense of it. We still talk about it today. I don't believe in ghosts, but I can't explain what this was. Looked like a ghost if you believe in that. Stray Walmart bag? Pollution is still scary. Years ago, my dad's uncle passed away. Years before that, said uncle got my parents a fancy bottle of tequila from Mexico, and it's been on the front room display shelf with a bunch of other dust-covered sculptures and glass work for at least 12 years. It's out of reach and untouched. No one in my immediate family drinks. On the day of his passing, I'm in the front room reading and my dad's doing his taxes. We get a phone call with the bad news. My dad continues his taxes while letting me know his uncle passed in a few short words. Not 30 seconds later and the tequila bottle his uncle got my parents starts playing music. This is odd to me because I thought it was just a bottle, so I ask, "Do we have a music box?" My dad continues his taxes and tells me the bottle has a music box built in and that was the only reason he kept it. I clarify, "Did you wind it recently?" And he just keeps filing and says nope, and I was ready to leave it at that, but he says still all casually occupied. I imagine Uncle David wanted to say goodbye one last time. That is the only time it has made a noise as long as I've been alive. Of all days and times. I never knew what to make of it. It just made me uncomfortable. Sounds like your dad has some stories to contribute to this thread. How could he be that numb to such a wild event? On a boat, trolling for yellowtail amidst a school of dolphin about 4 miles off San Diego, dolphin are too smart to take lures, aren't shy near small boats, and feed on the same bait schools as yellowtail and tuna, so it's strategic to follow them. As if cued, all 50 to 75 dolphins simultaneously stopped jumping and disappeared into the depths for about 30 seconds. Immediate, unnerving quiet. With great fanfare, they all suddenly burst out of the water in a near-perfect row about a football field wide, and for a while, synchronized jumps ahead of our boat. Then they were gone. Showing off for my dad and I? Normal behavior? Who knows, but it was awesome. You witnessed Dolphins Super Bowl halftime show. This is actually the weirdest thing, and call me crazy if you'd like. I went to a fair one time. For some reason my friends weren't with me, can't recall why. I noticed there were surprisingly few people there and an abnormal amount of clowns, didn't think anything of it. Got on some ride, got one of those spiral cut potatoes. Took off after, went home, went to sleep. Next morning my friend calls me and says where I was last night because my group of friends had a hangout and no one could get a hold of me, nor did I reply. Told them I went to the fair, he asked what fair, then I couldn't remember where it was. I just said the fair in town, he just laughed and said something to the extent of yeah whatever. Still have no idea where the frick I went that night. Probably just went to Walmart. I came out of a store one day and turned the corner to see a crow trying to read a paperback novel on a park bench. He was perched on the bench, turning pages with his beak. When he noticed me staring, he hopped away like I caught him red-handed and took flight a moment later. Ended up getting a tattoo of a crow reading a book because the incident left such an impression on me. No one really seems to believe me, but dude, corvids are freaking smart. I figure it was either imitating a person or trying to harvest pages for a nest, but either way, strange experience. Edit. Since a couple people asked and missed my reply, here's the tattoo. Like, comment, and share. Reddit Story Topper. Subscribe now.